Go for it.
Friggin' what up, dude? Strider Wilson, and I'm the host of this podcast that's mine. Going to be called History is Dank. History is Dank with Strider Wilson. Dankness from the ground.
Friggin' what up, dude? Welcome back to another ep of History is Dank. Dude, I'm your host, Strider Wilson, dude. We got Aaron going beast mode on the sticks, dude.
What up?
What up, dude? I freaking cleared my throat when I said that, so that's why it sounded weird. It also could have sounded like I was coughing at the doctor's office, something like that. Any case, we're unbelievably fired up today. We've got an unbelievably dank episode. We're coming at you high and tight, baby. Recording straight out of Dank, California, where things are calm, things are quiet, you know. We're in a bit of a historical moment in our country right now. Shit's crazy. A lot of messed up shit going on around. It's insane. You know, I don't want to get political out of the gate, but I don't know who's in charge of ICE, but that's a stupid strategy. Stupid. I'm like, it's hilarious, dude. Sorry, I gotta wax poetic for a second. Don't change. Skip ahead if you don't want to hear it. It's only gonna take 1 minute. But all I gotta say is, if you're looking to catch the criminals and the methamphetamines that are coming across the border, you know what every drug dealer likes to do is go clock in at the factory.
Yeah.
They love to go hang out at Home Depot and work on your drywall.
Yeah.
After they make tons of illegal funds, they love to go. They love to go work at car washes. They love to go have regular 9-to-5 jobs. It's exactly where they like going.
Yeah.
Unreal, dude. Also, yeah, dude. He's backpedaling now on the like sort of the migrant workers that work in the fields. Like, they're hard workers. Maybe we don't need it. It's like, yeah. Fucking come on, dude.
Yeah.
It's insane. And it's sort of, okay, that's it. So if you skipped ahead, you're safe now. That's all I had to say. Had to get off my chest. I want to start off with a little segment called Who Said It?
Oh.
Okay? Now I'm going to give 5 quotes here, and they're going to go, so if you know you're listening on your own, a little quiz, a little fun for you, you know what I'm saying? Maybe if you're in your car, shout out to my boy Luke, getting himself a Jimmy John's, get yourself a pickup. Listening. If you're listening with a friend, maybe you say the answer first. You don't even have to answer in the form of a question. This ain't Jeopardy, dude. It's who said it first. Aaron, if you're down to play along, I think we could have a little fun.
I am. Let's do it.
Okay, who said it? Okay. One person from history said this, so I'm not going to even give you a hint on the gender. I'm going to give you a hint on the time frame. I'm going to give you a hint with the first quote. We must use time creatively in the knowledge that the time is always ripe to do right.
We must always use time
Creatively. In the knowledge that the time is always ripe to do right. You don't have to venture a guess. You can go to the next round. You're not eliminated, I
It's
guess.
an MLK.
You already got it, dude.
Wow. Okay.
I thought that was a hard one.
I mean, it was.
You know what gave it away? Because everyone just takes the back end of that quote. They say it's always, they usually misquote it and they say it's never too late to do the right thing. Time is always ripe to do right. Okay, so let me give you the other quotes just so we can have fun because Aaron's too big of a genius. Intelligence plus character, that is the goal of true education. Whatever affects one directly affects all indirectly. You know, you can draw your own parallels if this applies to anything that's currently taking place. Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere.
That's MLK.
Yep. Boom. That's so they get easier. So, and then I have a dream. This was gonna be the last one. If you didn't get this one, it's like you didn't go to school in America. I have a dream that my 4 little children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. Dank quotes.
Yeah.
All right, we're off to the races, baby. Our mind's spinning. MLK is an absolute beast. I want to play a little Help Hurt Bone.
Oh, boy.
Okay? I want to play a little Help Hurt Bone. This is going to be a fun round. This first dude that comes in right here, this guy was written in from a suggestion. He's kind of just a real dude. Usually I always pick figures from history, although this guy is kind of a badass, kind of a folk hero. He's known as the executioner of Narcos for his resistance against the cartel in his hometown in Mexico. And I just kept it broad. I didn't get, it didn't put all the exact details, so I don't want anyone coming after me, dude. Don Alejo is what he's known as. It's sick when you get the first name Don. It's tight. If you're Don, it's pretty sick, like a sir or Don, very sick. His real name, Alejo Garza Tamez. Basically, he fought against the cartels to stay off of his farmlands, and he was being bullied. Went out, he ganked a few, drug cartel members, bad guys, but he did unfortunately end up getting killed in 2010 at 77 years old. So he's sort of like this folk hero of sticking up for the little man and for his own rights and his own business, and not being bullied. So Don Alejo. Then you have Prince Albert. So this guy, he was married to Victoria. And I got to tell you right now, look, I don't want to be judgmental. My wife tells me, stop talking about women's looks. She'll say that. We'll watch a show and I'll go, ooh, yeah, kind of attractive. We'll be watching Gilmore Girls. I'll be like,
sure. I'll
look at my wife. I go, I'm a big time Lorelai guy. And she'll be like, Michael, just calm down. She'll say that. Come on. And I'll be like, all right.
That's why they cast her.
Yeah. I go, I'm just appreciative right now. I'm just appreciating on a level that, And she's like, you need to calm your appreciation. Then I stand up in my basketball shorts and I say, you tell me about calm. That's right. Then I walked in the other room and I enjoy myself. Anyway, Prince Albert, consort queen to, was the Prince Consort was his official title when he married the Queen of Great Britain. And I was a cousin. He married his first cousin.
Yep.
And my point was about.
Like they do.
Exactly. This is royal. About Victoria was not exactly a looker. You could look up, this is 1840, so you got to think back on photographs, but there's some paintings. And, there's accurate, skilled painters. And I got to tell you, Edward, but he was an honest guy. Married the queen, loyal, advised her, was in her ear, but never overreaching his power. And in his own time, he was disliked. People were like, oh, he's annoying, because I think they kind of knew that he had the queen's ear, obviously. And up until his death of typhoid fever, bummer, the enemy always recognized him as an alien of the state. He was from
Germany, probably. They all are.
Yeah, he's from one of those other ones. I'm a dumbass, so I don't know why I didn't put this in my notes. Let me do this. Let me just look it up real quick. I gotta let you guys know. Sorry about this. By the way, this is all taking place around. He died in like the 1860s, I want to say. So like 1840s was kind of when they were ruling.
He's from Germany, yeah. Schloss Rissenau, Saxe-Coburg, Saarfeld, German Confederation.
Beast. Absolute beast. See, that's what I'm saying. They're an absolute beast. And then finally, Banksy. So you can help, hurt, or bone Prince Albert, Don Alejo, or Banksy. For those of you not familiar with Banksy, modern, still alive, probably. We really don't know who Banksy is.
Yeah.
British, probably. But they say, he's got his artistic philosophy is deeply rooted in social and political critique, satirizes societal norms, say that 3 times fast, satirize societal norms, challenges the status quo, street art, fun installations, oftentimes overnight these things pop up, it makes news, they're very cool, explores the ideas and has, sort of excellent slants and takes on consumerism, capitalism, and the overall human condition. If I was a computer, that's how I'd describe it. And that's exactly how the computer described it when I Googled that. So, help, hurt, bone.
This is tough. None of them's like outwardly a schmoll.
No. But here's my angle that I want to come at you with.
Yep.
We assume Banksy's a dude, but could be a lady.
Sure.
So maybe you want to bone Banksy.
I don't know.
Also, you could bone Prince Albert or get boned by Prince Albert, and he could, in fact, have a Prince Albert. And that would be interesting.
Doubt it. He had 9 children. I doubt he had a piercing down there.
Bro. Let's exhume the grave. We must exhume the grave.
He was also a big supporter of educational reform and the abolition of slavery worldwide.
Yeah, he was a good dude. Yeah, he was also an agriculturalist. I forgot to say that. I don't know why I didn't put that in my notes. I read it and I was like, I'll remember that, and then didn't.
And a big proponent of the constitutional monarchy.
Yeah, he wasn't a schmoll, but people thought he was a schmoll.
I'm boning Don Aiello.
I like that. He's a rancher. He knows how to use his hands.
He's ranching. He's
powerful. He sticks up for justice.
He's Latin.
He's Latin. Good hips. Good lover. Yep.
Yeah.
Very smart. Make you a nice meal.
I think I'm gonna
fresh from his farm. It's a sexual. Yep. You could listen to Strawberry Wine. Yep. Great call, Aaron. I like.
I think I'm still gonna marry Banksy though.
Yeah, I want to get to know Banksy better. That's a good marry. You still get to bone, and Banksy could be a lady.
Yeah, I'm just gonna. Yeah, I'm gonna hurt Prince Albert. I just don't like the monarchy.
And isn't that the story of Prince Albert? You know, everyone's doesn't like this guy.
Yeah.
But I think you're right. I think you know what you made good calls. I forgot when you marry forgot when you're married you're allowed to have sex. I forgot that. Forgot that that's something you are allowed to do. I guess. Kidding. My wife is great. We have a great love life. I'm a finesse bottom.
I mean, he married
beast.
His cousin at 20. He can't be very good at sex. Although he had 9 children. But
yeah, you're going to get a lot of Joe Pesci. That's my Prince Albert impression. Casino. Yeah, when you marry, here's my thing. If you marry your cousin at 20 and you're a Prince of England in the 1840s, excuse me, you might not be that good at sex. Classic. Get Foxworthy, bro. Just Foxworthy. Frickin' Prince Albert right there. All right. Baby, we're cruising right along. I thought that quote one was going to go way longer. Then I had to, get on my soapbox at the beginning of the ep. Hashtag sorry, not sorry, dad. And then now, we brought up this guy in a little segment called Help Hurt Bone a few episodes ago. And I was fired up on this guy. Okay? He's the eunuch explorer of China. During the Ming Dynasty, we're talking circa 1371 to 1433. That's this guy's life. Zheng He. Chinese admiral, the eunuch admiral. Guy had no dick, no balls. Guy did everything that takes massive huevos, as Don Alejo would say. And it would take a thick hog, like the pierce artist, or whatever you call them, the person that does piercings, that installed Prince Albert. What do you call a person that does piercings? Esthetician?
No.
It's an eyebrow person?
That's an eyebrow. That's facial person. Skin.
Huh.
I think it's just a piercer. Tattooer, piercer. Usually one and the same.
Yep. If this guy's a beast. Zheng He. Sorry I paused right there. I was thinking about making an inappropriate joke. Should I say it?
Sure.
If I was a pervert and I was in an adult film, I would call myself the esthetician. I'm just a pervert, sadly. I'm not in any adult films. So this guy's got temples that honor him all over Asia, Southeast Asia, because he's been all over that region. And I got to tell you, he might be the only guy, excluding women, like Temple of Mercury and the Acropolis, the goddesses, the only human that has, there's temples honoring a human. That's kind of crazy, right?
Yeah.
Or just like a shrine, or maybe it's just statues.
Yeah.
And there's statues that honor women. This guy might be the only dude with no dick that has the most statues.
I'd be willing to bet.
I would bet on that.
Yeah.
I'd bet. The guy had an insane childhood. So besides having your dick cut off, this guy's childhood was insane. He was raised Muslim, intense upbringing. Ma He, so Zheng He, Ma He, his father, he was loyal to the Yuan dynasty. Now remember, I mentioned the Ming dynasty. So even these were rebel forces. That became the Ming dynasty. So that actually helped him out. Sorry. I'm a dumbass. I got too excited. So his father was, the rebel forces were called the Yuan. They then grow into the Ming. There was probably some transfer of power and an emperor. Who knows what happened, assassination or a line changed down the line. In any case, in 1381, because Mahi was Yuan and there was a Ming changing of the guards, the Ming army kills Zheng He's dad. Okay, and they capture the boy.
Yeah.
He's 10 years old. He was made into a eunuch, sent to Beijing.
Jesus.
Imagine that. Terrible.
He's raised Muslim in China.
Mm-hmm.
They kill his dad and cut off his dick.
Yep.
Jesus. Send him away.
Yeah, so next time your dad sends you to your room for 20 minutes, could be worse.
Yeah.
If you lived 700 years ago, could be worse.
Yeah.
Southeast Asia, could be worse. So here's my favorite stat. This was my favorite stat. Because when I was researching this, I was like, dude, I don't know if I want to continue on this. And maybe there was another subject going on because I just read that. I was like, it bummed me out so hard. Then I learned this guy grew to be 7 Chinese feet tall. So I say Chinese feet because they're using a different system. They don't use the American 12 feet. He was probably 6'6".
Oh, okay.
How cool is that?
That's pretty hard to do.
6'6", no dick.
That's pretty hard to do.
Sail a ship.
After they cut off your...
Yeah, at 10.
Your testosterone
So he didn't even,
center.
That's what I mean. So I'm like, what's going on here? Now he's been praised a lot. So this could be some sort of embellishment. He could have just been taller than average. Could have been maybe 6 foot. In any case, I like saying he's 7 Chinese feet tall. The guy excels in fighting and military tactics. Yeah, you're not having sex. What else are you going to do? You're going to fight.
Yep.
And you're giant. And you're probably angry. So he beats everyone's ass. But he also studies Confucianism. So he's grounded. He studies Mencius. We've gone over that. Another great philosopher. China. And he becomes one of the prince's closest confidants. If I'm a prince, I'm a wealthy guy. What do all billionaires do? What does Zuckerberg do? Surrounds himself with dudes who were almost Navy SEALs. Due to fight, due to do MMA. Trainers. Julius Caesar had a personal trainer. Was the first guy who stabbed him, I believe. So you've got, if you're the prince in the time and you want a crew of dudes to hang out with, yeah, I want to hang out with this giant 6'6" guy who's kicking everyone's ass, who's also smart, and who I know is not going to sleep with my girlfriend or my wife.
I don't know. Still got a tongue.
It's true. He could dart. Dude, Aaron, great point.
Right?
Zheng He was probably so good at darting.
I'd hope.
Oh, I hope he scissored. I hope he scissored, dude. Because that's still nice intimacy if he's able to do that.
Sure.
Dart and scissor. I'm sure he did. And then he's like a real man. You know, I gotta say, busting for chicks. Real dudes, they don't nut. I'm saying, dude, when I'm hooking up with my wife, go down, blah, 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 45 minutes. See you at dinner, babe. That was great. Catch up on a few emails. That's Zheng He style, dude. Darts, scissors his timbers, and then just frickin', all right, gotta go check the constellations, make sure our ships are angled right. We need to make good headway tomorrow. Loving what I'm hearing. Loving this guy. So now there's something called Sinocentrism. That's an era post-Ming where you get, and pre, but this just happens during this era and this Prince Yan, Y-A-N. Not saying, yeah. Anyway, I was going to make another stupid joke, but and this one I won't share. But this is an era of expansion. Now this is 200 years before the great explorers of Europe. You know, there's these Portuguese explorers and exploiters for sure. Just got to, call a spade. But this era of exploration, Vasco da Gama, Ponce de Leon, Sir Francis Drake, all these guys.
Marco Polo?
Marco Polo. Although I'm saying maybe more seafaring. Marco Polo is landfaring maybe.
Oh, okay.
But more seafaring. The ships that they had at this time were massive.
Magellan?
Yeah, that sounds right.
He's ocean.
Yeah, he's seafaring. Sea wolf. All I'm saying is, dude, China was ahead of the curve, and if they wanted to keep expanding, who knows? Maybe they would have reached the Americas if they wanted to. But they didn't. I was saying they get that era of Sinocentrism, the Great Wall. We have enough tight shit here. Let's just close things off. We're good. Everyone stay out. Sort of, to a degree, continues to this day. That will come into play later here in Zheng He's story. Yan launches a series of attacks against resurgent Mongols based just north of his fiefdom. Zheng He helps him in his military tactics, help him win here. So then, so it's a huge come up, right? Oh no, I'm just saying, sorry. It's a huge come up for the prince. Also helps out our boy.
Sure.
Right? So then you have this first emperor of the Ming dynasty, this guy, Prince Zhu Di's eldest brother, not our boy's friend, Prince Yan. He dies in 1398. This guy, Zhu Yunwen, is his successor. And he basically what's happening is there's civil war. That's all we need to know. There's a lot of these names going on. I'm getting confused even saying it myself because I'm such a dumbass, and I'm sorry that I'm butchering them. Zheng He also, he has the honorary title of Mahi. So when I'm reading my notes, it's a little bit confusing. Mahi meaning like Muslim. Mahi would be the Chinese. So that's kind of a name of like the big, like just Muslim is what they call this guy. Because he stayed loyal to his Muslim upbringing his whole life. Even though he did dabble in Confucianism and stuff like that, he still was Muslim. It's legit. The guy sticks to his guns. So, let's see. Let me skip ahead here. This we don't need. Basically, all this suffice to say, the young emperor loves Zheng He. And the Confucian scholars don't love him because he's Muslim, but like I mentioned, he works with them, so they're willing to tolerate Zheng He. And he's smart, and he throws quotes like that scene in Quiz Show. Like the Muslim scholars will throw, the Confucian scholars will throw a quote at Zheng He. He'll be like, "Dude, that's a sick ass quote." Boom, he'll quote right back with something sick, and they'll just all go, "Oh, very good." They'll all be wooed by each other. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Just dropping knowledge bombs on each other. This gives him extra sway and power. He then is granted what is known as the treasure fleet. Apparently a lot of the role that Zheng He played in this civil war going on in the Ming dynasty was at sea. Zheng He's most important role in service to the emperor is commander-in-chief of this treasure fleet, which would serve as the emperor's principal envoy to the peoples of the Indian Ocean. So he cruised all around the Indian Ocean. He appointed Zheng He, to head the massive fleet of 317 junks. It's a type of vessel, a little smaller vessel, crewed by over 27,000 men. Actually, that's pretty fucking big. Those are big-ass vessels, never mind.
Yeah. That's a big-ass number of sailors.
That's the thing my boy Dan Carlin says when he goes, when it comes to China and you read the numbers, you have to look again because it's just everything has like an extra zero behind it. You're like, what? It's just everything's
wild.
10x. They depart from Nanjing in the fall of 1405 at the age of 35. He achieved the highest rank ever by a eunuch in Chinese history. In 1424, so we're skipping ahead here. Basically, he just what happens to this? He's cruising around, meeting other rulers all over around the Indian Ocean basin area, stopping off at ports, dapping up rulers. What up? I'm from China. What up? Let's trade. Let's fucking, here's this gift. You give me this gift. You want to give me any of the women? Nope, that's fine. I'm good. Actually, psych. Let's scissor. That's tight. He's making relations. He's very smart. I don't know if he speaks languages, but he's bringing translators. He brings back tons of animals. You know, emperors back in the day loved zoos. They loved having, you know, personal trainer friends, and they loved exotic animals. So he'd bring back exotic animals. I always feel bad for the animals in these stories, kind of like getting put on boats and dragged around. It's always just such a bummer, but
Yeah.
the ancient world was brutal. This isn't even that ancient, but just, 700 years ago, it's a pretty long time ago. It was a brutal lifestyle. So he would bring back countless emissaries from foreign lands to bow before the emperor. So there's cool relations. However, the cost of these excursions, this treasure fleet, weighed heavy on the treasury because he wasn't bringing back that much coin. And in addition to that, the Mongols are always invading, so there's always, fighting going on to this Sinocentrism of, like I mentioned earlier, of like, hey, we need to tighten things up. Cancels these voyages. So, that emperor, I believe, ends up dying, who's favorable towards Zheng He, this Yongle emperor is what his name is, Yongle. And when he dies, the elder son Zhu Guaoji becomes the Hongxi emperor, and during his 9-month rule, he orders an end all treasure fleet construction, repair, and future envoys. As he's a staunch Confucianist, he believed that the voyages drained the money from the country. He preferred to spend them fending off Mongols and feeding people who are ravaged by famine and ravaged by the Mongols and whatever. So, it's tough to argue against that. Then that emperor dies. A lot of emperors dying in Zheng He. This guy is enduring. Everyone else is dying, dude. Probably getting STDs. Actually, they're getting ganked. That's what's happening a lot of the times. Sometimes they get old. They inherit old natural causes, or just getting straight up ganked. Poisonings for sure.
I mean, how could you even tell?
Exactly. The new emperor that comes in is the Xuandi emperor. He's a happy medium between this other guy. He's between this article describes him as a mercurial grandfather, and he sends Zheng He out again with the treasure fleet. So he's once again able to set sea on the open seas. And I believe he ends up dying out at sea. But, I mean, for a dude who would have had maybe the sickest life if he didn't have his wiener cut off, 6'6" in the year 1300, yeah, you're huge.
Yeah.
That's like being 9 feet tall today.
Yeah.
A few highlights from his voyages, just to throw it out there. He led let's see. On his second voyage, departing in 1408, he saw the fleet carrying gifts to the king of Calicut. That's like the Malabar coast of India. Don't know where that is. So he intervenes, ganks, and and helps like barter peace between Java and this invading force. Pretty badass. So this guy brokered peace, very legit. He also attacked a Ceylonese naval force and successfully led a ground invasion and captured their king. What up? He was taken to the Ming court as a prisoner, bowed down before the emperor. What up? Bow down, dude. He paused. He once stopped in Sumatra, the north coast of Sumatra, where his men kidnapped a usurper who murdered a ruler who was more sympathetic to the Ming. So they solved crimes. This guy was a detective, dude. He goes, dude, that ruler that you killed liked our king. Now you put in a ruler who doesn't. We're going to find that guy and get him. They got him. So just some badass stuff. And like I mentioned earlier, in his 5th voyage, that's when he brought back a lot of animals, lions, camels, giraffes, ostriches. So pretty badass, dude. I mean, he's a 6 foot tall Muslim Chinese guy. It's basically like Freddy Krueger for Fox News watchers.
Yeah.
Dude's a badass. All right, so before we get the hell out of here, what about let's do one thank call.
Sure.
I want to just go ahead and thank call. Got to thank call the Olive Garden. Thank them for making me feel like family.
Thank you for calling the Olive Garden at the Empire Center in Burbank. Here's a carside pickup. Check in on the texted link or press 3 now. For your convenience, place your carside to-go order or catering order at olivegarden.com or use the Olive Garden app. For large catering orders, press 1. For seating information, visit the Olive Garden app or press 2 for seating information. For all other inquiries, press 3.
3. So some legit hold music.
Hello, thank you for calling Olive Garden Burbank. How can I help you?
What up? My name's Strider, and I was dining with you guys last night, and I just wanted to thank you guys for a great experience. You guys really made me feel like family. In fact, I was there with my extended family, and my uncle was even there, and he saw his ex-wife and her new family, and honestly, I think like they even rekindled like an old flame together, so it was like kind of nice.
Well, I'm glad you felt like a family. Would you like to speak to a manager?
Sure, yeah, I'll tell him what up. Yeah, thank you so much.
Okay,
Fine,
no problem. Like, just give me 1 second. I'll put you on hold for a manager, okay?
Yeah, for sure. Gotta let everyone know. Hopefully speed this up. Being on hold is unchill. I can only imagine as a podcaster listening to someone being on hold while listening to a podcast on hold. You just gotta love being on hold, dude.
Everywhere you call has phone trees now too. Like,
I know. I wonder if I should just call back another Olive Garden and be like, "What up?" She couldn't wait to get me over to that manager, dude. Although it's pretty funny if this manager comes on and I'm like, dude.
Thank you for holding. Chris speaking. How can I help you?
Hey, what's up? I just want to call and thank you guys for a great dining experience. I had such a legit dining experience last night with you guys, so just wanted to get in touch with you and thank you guys for making me feel like family.
Okay. Give me 1 second. Let me go to the office because there's a lot of noise in here. Okay, give me 1 second.
For sure. Yeah, I'd love to talk more intimately.
most people want to hang up on you. These guys are like, hey, let me make sure.
I really want to get to the bottom of this. Banking.
Thank you for holding. Sorry, I couldn't hear you over there.
Oh, no worries. All good. I'm just super fired up. I just want to thank you guys for a great dining experience, making me feel like family. And in fact, I had some extended family there. Some people in the family I don't even get along with, like my uncle who I have beef with. And we had a great time. So thank you so much.
Well, I'm glad you enjoyed your visit. Do you remember who your server was?
I want to say it was a dude named Chris. I can't be mistaken. Everyone just there nailed it. I got to say, even from start to finish, like you guys all crushed it. Food was dank. The vibes were dank. In fact, it was like we were worried for a second because there was my uncle's ex-wife was at the other table with her brand new family, and her new husband was there, and they got along. And so I'm like, maybe they're all, honestly, it seemed like intimately, like they're going to need, they're going to need some endless breadsticks, when they're done with each other. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you enjoyed your visit, and I'm glad that the team members were able to make your day. So that's our purpose. So.
Well, thank you so much. I was unbelievably fired up. So just keep crushing it, and thank you.
Well, thank you very much. I'll make sure I'll let know my team members. Okay.
For sure. Appreciate it, and we'll be back.
Bye.
Bye. Dude, that's what's up.
Yeah.
What a sweet guy.
Totally.
So nice, dude. I just hope my uncle, hope he doesn't invest too much in this relationship. I just hope that. All right, guys. Stay freaking stoked. We'll catch you guys in the next one. This has been History is Dank. Aaron going beast on the sticks. I'm your host, Strider Wilson. Let.